Okay, now.
All right, perfect. There we go.
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah,
no, it's
right.
Yeah, I my speaker wasn't working on my end there for a second too, but no, man, thanks for jumping on. I was bored out of my mind these past few weeks.
Dude, tell me about it.
Oh man, so like I'm obsessed with UFC, huge fan, and they took it away from me. So
I know.
figured, you know what, I'm just gonna start something, start a podcast. Had a couple guys on last week, so I was like, may as well do this and try to fill up some time. So thanks for jumping on, man. I've been a fan for a little while, so
Thanks, man.
appreciate you coming on.
It's good. I'm glad I could be one of your guests on.
Oh no, and thanks for taking the time.
Yeah.
So like, I guess we'll just start with like, man, how are things with the coronavirus, man? Like training's got to be brutal.
It sucks because all the gyms are closed.
Yeah.
So we can't really train at all. So all the guys are like kicking it. They're just like dragging ass. Like, oh, it sucks. Like Calvin Cater, of course, he's like, he has no gym to train at, and he has a fight coming up. You know.
Yeah.
They're trying to make his fight happen. He's on a Khabib card.
Yeah, I just heard they're gonna make that. They're making the fight happen anyway. They have a venue for it. So hopefully at least he gets on that.
Yeah, no, I think he's still on the card. I think the card still stands. They just moved it, and he's been busting his ass getting workouts, and he's still been doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be brutal, man. Like you got no place to train. Obviously no one to train with, which makes it difficult. Yeah, no one to punch. So I mean, hopefully they rearrange that and get him a spot. As for you though, how are you doing? Do you have any ideas on your when you plan on getting back in there? Is there?
Yeah, so I've been getting back in the rhythm of training and everything.
Yeah.
I've been in the gym, and then all of a sudden, all of this happened, and it's like fuck.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's been cool though. I just been chilling, kicking it, keeping.
Do you have an idea of when you're planning on getting back in there? Or
I was looking for May or June. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
So hopefully that can still stand. Hopefully shit just blows over and it's over and done with by the time they say it's gonna be over and done with. But,
I said stop.
Yeah. Do you? Because your last fight was in Korea, right?
Yep, December.
Yeah. How'd you find training with that? Because if I'm not wrong, that was the only time you've ever fought outside of the U.S.
Yeah, I never fought outside. That was the first time. It was cool. It was awesome. Oh, hold on. My daughter, she wants to get in on this too. But yeah, it was great. We just stuck to the same game plan and training. The only difference is that when we got there and we landed, we tried to make sure all of our workouts were the same time frames that we were going to be fighting. And I was like what, the first or second fight on the main card. So we just tried to adjust to that time.
Because I mean, how was jet lag? Were you you probably flew over early?
You know what? I didn't experience it until I got back.
Oh, okay.
When I got back, it was like, oh man, it was brutal. But going down there, like, it was totally fine.
Yeah, it's like a full days of travel, pretty much.
Yeah.
I have a question. Probably one of the few people that's ever going to ask you this. Maybe not. How did you get the nickname?
So I got it when I first got to Joe's. Joe has a boxing coach, Steve Hayes, and I never did boxing mitts before. I always done Muay Thai. So I was hitting the Muay Thai, and like, you know, Muay Thai, they're very slow and methodical, you know, versus boxing where it's more finesse. And he was always saying like, what the fuck, man? You're so slow. Like, hit the shit. And so that's how I got the name Slow. But he changed that up a bit. He was like, we got to fix this.
How's training at Joe's? Obviously, one of my favorite fighter growing up. both him and Dan were both very exciting fighters to watch.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, two great minds. Must be amazing to have those two coaches.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's been awesome training there. Joe's the man. But it's so funny. Him and I were talking just a bit ago, and he was like, I'm so bored. I'm so tempted to just like, fuck it, and open the gym and just have it, like, just come train. But it can't do anything, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even trying to risk it, though.
Yeah, it's not worth it, especially like if you have loved ones at home and stuff. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm 24, so
Yep.
I'm relatively young,
Yeah.
healthy for the most part.
Yep.
So I'm not necessarily worried for me.
Yeah.
But grandparents and siblings and stuff like that, you definitely want to put that on someone else, and kids and stuff like that too. So
they said kids haven't even been getting sick. They said they've been on a lower percentage scale. I think it's like it's less than 2% or something like that.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, hopefully, like you said, hopefully they get all this sorted out. I mean, nothing on TV, man. And as a sports fanatic, it's rough. It's rough. You can only watch so much Netflix, so
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's hopefully they get that card rearranged though, because I mean, I feel like a lot of people have been given UFC stick for it simply because like everything else is shutting down, but it's like if you can get it done, you're gonna bring in a lot more viewers. Because no one's going to be watching baseball. Nobody's going to be watching hockey. It's all eyes on UFC.
I think that's why they're trying to do everything they possibly can to do it. Because it's such a crucial, like a big opportunity for them, you know?
Yeah.
So for a bunch of other little things too. Like even the eSports events, like some of them, they just held, I think, a Call of Duty event in an empty arena too.
What's your you do a lot of gaming too, eh? What are you on there?
I play on PS4 and on PC.
Okay, and what's the game that you've been streaming? I have a lot of
Siege.
Oh yeah, a lot of my buddies are the guys that watch the podcast mainly are big gamers.
Nice.
I'm not much of a gamer myself, but
yeah. Siege is my shit. I play some Call of Duty too, but not as much as I play Siege.
Yeah, I'm a FIFA. That's FIFA? All I play. All I play, man. I can't get behind anything else.
I can't play FIFA, man.
Always sports, man. That's all I can do.
Yeah, they also they just had a tournament that was empty as well. It was before everything blew up. They were like the first one to do an empty thing. It was these two kids from Europe that played against each other. It was a huge game. Yeah.
Yeah, they can only have venues, I think, up to 5 or 10 now, or in some parts of the world, 50, which is, I think, what the UFC is planning. But
yeah,
how did you score the Jones Reyes fight? I've always wanted to ask other martial artists because, as a fan, I saw. I mean, I saw Jones winning just because I thought he was landing more. Or he landed less, but he was dictating. He had more control. And as someone who, I mean, I did some JiuJitsu, but don't get me wrong, I don't have a martial arts background. So
yeah,
as someone who's been in there, and how did you score it? Did you see the damage? Did you see octagon control? What was it for you that had it?
When I first, I'll be real, I didn't watch the whole fight. At the time I was working, but we had it on at the bar, and the first 2 rounds that I saw, I thought Reyes was winning that fight. I'm like, oh, Reyes is gonna win this fight the way it's going. And then I saw the last like X amount of minutes of the last round, and I saw Jones start scoring takedowns, and he just started doing what Jones do. You know what I mean? And I think Reyes was just out of it after that. He was like, fuck it. You know,
5 rounds for a light heavyweight, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Definitely is.
Yeah, so I scored it 3-4-5 Jones. I had 1-2 Reyes. But I'm also a Jones fan.
Yeah.
So there was that bias there too, you know, pulling me towards Jones.
Yeah.
But it's nice to hear it from someone who's been in there, experienced it, has fought. What do you have an idea for an opponent for your next fight? Is there anyone in mind or?
Man, I'm down to fight anybody any given day. I know that's like the cliche thing, but I mean it's the truth. That's how we're all.
That's the mindset.
Built. Yeah, you know. I saw that you had posted about the Johnny Walker fight. I would love that fight. That fight would be cool.
I thought that's the fight I posted, and you were the first name that came to mind. I was like, okay, they're both coming off losses, but they're both exciting, right? Both forward. You have a lot of finishes. He obviously has finishes. So I thought that would be a great, fun fight and fan-friendly fight. Which I thought would be fun. But yeah, that's why I posted it. But I don't know. I just thought it would be fun.
I would definitely love that fight. That fight was sick. I think it's definitely up both of our alleys. And that'll be a dope fight. When you threw that out there, I'm like, oh, I don't like that.
Yeah, a lot of people give me criticism for some of the fights I make. And I think it doesn't really matter how you do it, right? Like, because a lot of the fights I don't book them or whatever, but I post. I ignore rankings. I ignore all that stuff. I'm like, you know what? Who stylistically makes sense?
Yeah.
And based on their last performance, what makes sense?
Yeah.
So you had a streak going before your last fight. He has a lot of hype behind him, but he's coming off back-to-back losses. Yeah. It's like it'd be a huge fight for you if you take him out, enter the top 15.
Yep.
And a good fight for him. But people disagree no matter what I post. So
yeah. Can't win them all. No, can't win everybody on your side. Yeah.
No, you can't. And who do you have for the UFC 249? Who do you have winning that?
Which one's that's the Khabib fight, right? Ferguson beats him. I think he has so much tools. He can grapple, he can wrestle, dude can strike. Like and he's so unpredictable. You don't know what the fuck he's gonna throw.
Yeah,
you don't know.
Yeah, he's not scared to go anywhere either, right?
Nah, he could go anywhere. He's like, bring it. So that's gonna be an interesting fight. But I definitely see. I don't see it like him finishing him, but I see him beating him by decision for sure. I think he has so many ways to score. Like he constantly keeps scoring because he has so many ways, and he can do it from different angles to keep switching it up on you. Versus the Khabib, everybody knows what Khabib's gonna do.
Yeah, but the problem is, how do you stop him? Right? Like Dustin knew what he was gonna do.
That's the thing. I think the one person that could stop him for sure is Ferguson. If he beats Ferguson, then nobody in the division's beating him. It is what it is. George. If he comes down to 55, but maybe Gaethje got some good wrestling. Gaethje's he don't use it. He just stand in the pocket and swing. But the dude can wrestle, and I think the leg kicks will implement a lot into that fight if there was a fight. But I'm still going with Ferguson. Ferguson beats him.
Yeah, I think the one thing that he's going to find is, he got tagged by Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
But that was like enough to make him step back. It wasn't like he got knocked down. Tony is going to elbow him in the face. Tony is going to make him bleed.
If he takes him down, and he does get him down, Tony's disgusting on his back. So, Tony's going to be hitting him with elbows, like, pushing up on his face, cracking with elbows, like creating space. He's going to do a lot to create space because he knows how to do it. And, dude, he has a nasty Darce.
Yeah, that Darce.
Catch Khabib coming in quick. Yeah. You know what I mean? He could catch Khabib coming in. Like, it's an interesting fight. It's one of the fights you definitely have to see it play out. We can't just keep saying, like, oh, who's going to win, whose side we're going to pick. Like, you just have to see it out because they're both, like, really skilled. But I think I tip the hat to Ferguson. He just has so much more tools.
Yeah. Fifth time's the charm, hopefully, right? Like, it's like coronavirus is a global pandemic that might jinx this, but it's funny how they have that curse, and then this big pandemic could be causes it to stop. Like, so unusual, but I don't think any fight's ever been booked 5 times without happening.
Yeah, I was supposed to fight. I was supposed to be on one of the cards. Well, the fight was supposed to happen on one of the cards I was on when I was in Brooklyn. My first UFC debut. He was supposed to fight Ferguson.
Yeah. Huh.
UFC 223. And then it was Holloway. Then at the end of the night, it ended up being Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was a good fight. It could be one, but I think Al did. I think that was the best fight Al's ever had.
Yeah.
He went the decision. He took it on 24 hours notice.
Yeah.
So very, very impressive. I think that was the best anyone's looked against Khabib.
It was a really good fight.
Yeah. Which fight of your career, like if you had to suggest to like someone who doesn't necessarily watch UFC or doesn't know about your fights, what fight would you say, hey, watch that one?
It's a fight. It was when I was in CES. It's probably my favorite fight. No, it's not probably. It is my favorite fight. It's when I fought Alec Hubin for CES. I don't remember what CES it was, but we fought, and that fight got me the Contender Series fight.
Yeah, so it's TKO, April 16th, 2017, CES 44.
Yep.
Rhode Island, yeah. Also, your Contender Series fight, that knockout was unbelievable. By the way, just putting that out there. How was that feeling, like finally getting the contract to UFC with a crazy knockout, meeting Dana White? Had to be overwhelming.
Oh yeah, man, it was just a huge weight lifted off me. It was awesome.
Yeah,
because going into that fight, we knew who we was fighting. We knew we had a lot of background on the kid because small world. Every wrestler knows like wrestlers.
Yeah.
So a couple of my teammates that I was wrestling at the time, they all knew who he was, and they're like, "Dude, he's a savage." But we got the blueprint to beat him. So, but it was perfect. Like, I can't explain how perfect that whole thing was. So I was even supposed to fight him. I was actually supposed to fight the very first week of the Contender Series against Daniel Spawn, and that fight didn't happen.
Daniel Spawn's no joke. He's a
stud. Yeah, he's a stud. But we were supposed to fight, and that fight did not happen. I couldn't. Something was up with my medicals, and I was like super scared about it. But Mick Maynard and them, they were like, "Don't worry about it. We're gonna book you on another one. It might not be this summer, maybe next summer, but we're gonna book you." And I said, "All right." Dude, I was super depressed about it. And then next thing you know, phone rings. 4 weeks later, he's like, "We're back on. We got you an opponent." Then they gave me Jamil Jones and ended up fighting him. But yeah, that whole time in my life, it's just unreal. It was just like everything just went perfect.
Yeah.
The way it was supposed to be, you know?
Yeah, it feels like all your hard work and everything finally comes together. And I mean, I remember watching that fight and being like, holy shit. And I mean, anytime a flying knee lands like that, it's... Yeah, no, man, that fight was incredible.
Thank you.
I mean, obviously, wrestling background. I find a lot of wrestlers make the transition to MMA. Some people don't go through with it. What was behind the decision to do it? Was it the knack to like, I need to keep competing? Was it that drive, or was it just something that made sense? You were always in the gym with those guys anyway, or?
Oh, I'm not a wrestler. I never stepped foot on the mat of wrestling. Hello?
Oh, yeah. I thought you wrestled.
No. I just had like a lot of friends who did, but I never. Oh, okay. I didn't wrestle in high school or anything. I started Muay Thai in high school, actually. My sophomore year in high school. I started.
What was the reason to start doing that? Was it
Because I was in I was in school and I was just fucking bored, and I'm not a sport guy. Like I don't really like other sports. I don't like football, basketball, things of that nature. So I was like, what can I get into? And my high school didn't have wrestling. I grew up in an inner city high school in Boston. So I'm like, what the hell can I do? You know?
Yeah.
And what I was able to do, I just found that Muay Thai. I knocked some kid out in school. And I met my teacher, Alex Costa, and he pulled me aside and was like, listen, you're suspended, but I want to introduce something to you. I'm like, what's up? He's like, because you got some power, kid. And he was like, here, look at these DVDs. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it was like Pride. I'm like, a bunch of Pride DVDs. So while I was suspended, I was just watching these DVDs, and come to find out, it was MMA. And he introduced me to MMA. So then I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like, how can I get involved with this? He was like, I got you. So he picked me up. He took me to a gym. And then it's been scoring since then.
Did you go straight to the Lauzons, or was there another?
It was a Boston Muay Thai Academy.
Okay.
It was in Dorchester, and I used to go there all the time. I was skipping school to go there and everything. And it just was a fucking magical experience going there. As a 17-year-old kid, and you see all these other guys cracking bags and shit, and you're like, holy shit, it's awesome.
Yeah. I did a little bit kickboxing when I was really young. Took one body shot and was like, I'm done with this. Body shots are no joke, man. I took one. I was like, I'm done with that. Did a little bit of jiu-jitsu last year.
Okay.
But other than that, man, like no MMA background. No MMA background, just weird passion for it. Don't know how I picked it up. I watched Rampage versus Rashad.
Oh, okay.
And, when I saw Rampage break that door down, I was like, yeah, these guys, this is me. This is like, I feel that anger. Like, I wake up, I stub my toe. I want to do that to my door. So seeing people like that, I don't know. I fell in love with it ever since that season of The Ultimate Fighter.
That was a fun season. It really was.
Yeah, the bad blood.
The fight wasn't the greatest, but it was a fun season. Now, why don't you get into MMA? Now, why don't you get to MMA training, not necessarily fighting?
Yeah, well, I did some jiu-jitsu, and I mean, I like jiu-jitsu. I ended up getting this weird disease thing on my foot, and I went to I ignored it. I was like, whatever, it's whatever. Then I went to the doctor, and they're like, thank goodness you came in because the infection started spreading. So it was gross. And they were like, you can't go to the mat because it's contagious. So I had to stop jiu-jitsu for a bit. And I stopped in August and then in August they were like, yeah, you can go back. But in September I was going to Europe for a trip.
Yep.
So I left for 6 weeks, came back, and then I was going to get back into it, and then we got this thing. So it's like, and there's always a reason not to do it. You know what I mean? You always find a reason not to, and I really should get back into it because I loved it. It was always fun. Everyone there, it's a small community. It's just a small gym.
Yeah.
And most of them are brown belts.
And shit.
So, and I always found that rolling with brown belts and purple belts and blue belts, obviously I'm just a white belt, was I learned a lot more, and there was no way for me to get injured.
Yep.
I've rolled with a couple of white belts or people who are just starting. Yeah. I always ended up leaving with like a sore leg or bloody nose because they're spazzy, right? And when I started, I was the same way. And I only have 6 months of experience, so I'm not even that great. But
oh man, you're just hitting your curve. 6 months. Usually, at least in 6 months, you got a go-to move. You know what I mean? And in most positions. Yeah,
the Kimura, rear naked, and guillotine.
Hey, that's your game.
Yeah, triangle. I could do triangle. That's right. That's about it.
Grow from there. Just take that and just keep growing from there.
Yeah, I really do need to go back, and I really enjoyed it.
Do it, man.
But yeah, I did a Muay Thai a few times. Never liked getting hit. So I'm an accountant, so very, accountants don't tend to like getting punched in the face too much.
I could think
So
that you should definitely stick to jiu-jitsu. Yeah, man. Yeah. I personally think like at least everybody should try jiu-jitsu. I understand MMA is like it's not easy on the eyes. Like looking at it, you're like, oh shit, I'm all set with that. But jiu-jitsu is just so fucking fun. It's legit like fun, and it's real. Depending on who you're going with, and everything is safe. You can keep doing it. Keep doing it. Like I'm at the point where I just roll with anybody. I don't give a shit, even if they're like spazzing and stuff. Like I just will control it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, I like I'm small. I'm like $170 or so. So like I'll roll with someone who's 220. Yeah. And it's very different than rolling with someone who's 120.
Yeah.
Which is why I like it. It's every person you roll with is different. They have a different go-to move. They move differently. They react differently. You may go left on one person and they may let you. You may go left on another and you may end up on your back.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's very, very different, and every person's different. So it's like it's problem solving, which is why I like it. It's more of a puzzle than anything else.
Like who? I think it was John Danaher. Well, he says like it's a human chess. It's like playing chess but with humans. Like that's what it is. It's, you constantly got to think of the 3 or 4 moves ahead. You got to like slow things down. You got to observe. Like it's awesome, and it also changes your way of thinking, because once you start developing that style of thinking, that way of that mindset, you can't turn it off. So you start thinking about everything like that. Like you start thinking about driving in traffic like that. You're like, well, if I go this left, I know he's gonna go left. And, you know what I mean? Like you start just thinking about shit like that. You start breaking things down, and it's cool. It's a different mindset. Different.
Yeah. It was what I loved about it is I'd come home from jiu-jitsu, and all I'd be thinking about until I went to bed was jiu-jitsu. Like it was like, oh man, like, I had him in the triangle. Why didn't it work? Like you know what I mean? Like why didn't he tap?
And it's always like one little detail you missed.
Oh, you didn't move his arm.
Oh, I didn't do that. Yeah. I still see the shoulder. It's always like that. Always.
Yeah. It must be like that in fights too. After a fight, you're like,
absolutely.
You look back at a fight, like his chin was open. Like, yeah, so
you can't be perfect. You can just get as close as possible. But perfection is not real. Just close as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Another question I had for is how, like, what is going on in your mind? Like, when you're in a fight and you're like, man, I am seconds away from possibly knocking him out, or seconds away from possibly being knocked out. It's got to be such a weird feeling to know, like, my life is on the line here.
What I try to do, I can't speak for other guys, but what I try to do is when I go into a fight, I try to be blank as possible. Like the blankest mindset you could possibly have. The blankest. Like I try not to have anything in my mind. You know what I mean? I just try to be focused on what I need to do and just a blank mindset. Excuse me. So when I go in there, like all that shit's out the window. I'm just like clear-minded. Go. I gotta try to be very mindful and present in the moment, because if you start thinking about like how guys get into conversation, like when they get into conversations or they believe, I'm gonna knock him out. That tunnel vision that you get is like it's not realistic.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like the vision of you don't see in a tunnel vision, you see in this wide area. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, why you have that mindset? Don't have that mindset. Don't go in there, I'm going to knock him out. That's when guys go in there, but I'm going to knock him out. Then they get taken down or something. They hit that shock factor, and they're not used to it because they already in their mind thinking about knocking this person out. And then they're getting taken down. And then now they got to try to think of something else, but they still thinking about knocking them out. Like, nah, just go out there, fight. That's it. That's all you got to do. Just fight. Just go out there, perform the best ability. That's it.
Yeah, you gotta try to clear your mind of everything negative.
Yeah. You can't go in there with that type of mindset. You cannot, because if you do, you're just gonna beat yourself before you get in there.
Have you ever been on the receiving end of like a Nick Diaz or Conor McGregor type trash talk in there? Like someone being like, "Come on, hit me!" Like, and has that ever like affected you?
No. The closest I ever been to something like that was the Alec Hoopin fight. He talked so much shit to get that fight. He talked mad shit to get that fight. And me, I'm not a shit talker. It's just not what I am. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like where I come from, you talk shit, get hit. It is what it is. Somebody's gonna come up to you and crack you. You keep talking shit. So I'm like, all right, like especially if we're gonna fight, like bitch, I'm gonna see you. So like, what does it matter? So you know what I mean? And he was talking hella shit for that fight. He got the fight. We fought, and I'm like, I didn't say nothing to him. Like I didn't talk no shit to him. I just like, well, what is there for me to say? I beat your ass. I don't have nothing to say to you. Like, yeah, well, you're done with. You know what I mean? But I get the antics of talking shit. I get it. It's to sell, get people in seats. You know what I mean? I get it. I totally get it. It's this dumb formula, but it's a formula that works.
And for some people, like Chael Sonnen, it gets them fights.
Yeah.
Maybe, Alec Hoopin maybe gets them fights they wouldn't necessarily get.
Unfortunately, like guys like, first of all, we don't give him enough credit, which he should. He's one of the pioneers of that style. Bisping, like Conor, Chael, like all these guys. Constantly, Koscheck. All these guys that constantly talk shit or whatever like that. Like yes, that's like Bisping, that's organically him. You meet him off air, on air, he's a shit talker. Like that's him. He just kicks it like, yo, fuck it, blah, 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 blah. He just goes in, that's just how he is. But like some other guys, it's an act. You'll go, I'm not gonna try to throw some guys in the bus, but you know what I mean? When you see them in person, they don't act the same way they do in that front of that camera. It's legit an act. Like they're like switch.
Yep. Sell fights, get people in seats.
Yeah, it's under not people's skin. That's not me. Like I'm a shit talker. Like I'll talk shit with my friends and stuff like that. Yeah. Things of that nature. But I'm not gonna talk shit to sell. Like you know what I mean? I get the concept of it, but it's just it doesn't feel organic to me. Somebody's talking shit to me. Yeah, I'm gonna talk shit back. But I'm not gonna like go and pursue it and like start the shit talking. Nah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or act like be mad, like pretend to be mad, like be in someone's face, like in face-offs and shit. It's corny. It's not me. I ain't gonna do it.
Yeah. It's from a fan perspective, like guys like Mike Perry who are up in your face doing weird stuff.
Yeah.
We love it.
Yeah.
But if it's not who you are, like that's Mike Perry. Right.
Yeah.
But if you saw someone like Joe Lauzon, who's known to be classy, if you saw him do it, you'd be like, what are you doing?
And if I also do that, he'll smack the dog shit out of me. He always like, don't act like a dickhead. Don't act like a dickhead. He always tell us that. Like, don't act like a dickhead.
Man, I've been a Joe fan for so long. So, I mean, it's amazing you get to work with him every day. But what I liked most about him was that, right? Like, what you see is what you get. He's not there to start shit. He's there to be humble, win fights, humble in defeat, classy when he wins. And Dan was the same way. I mean, not as many people know him. He wasn't in the UFC as long.
Yeah.
But
it's awesome that you give him some clout, give him some pull.
Yeah,
Most people don't like. A lot of people won't even mention his name. They always mention Joe. I'm like, nah, don't sleep. D'Lo's a beast.
Yeah. Well, he was a pioneer, right? He's a pioneer. But a lot of people, especially people who weren't fans back in the day, like Dan
don't know him. They don't.
He was leaving right as I got into it.
Yeah.
But I watched a lot of past videos and past footage and stuff. So I mean, he had some wars. So really, I mean, he deserves just as much credit as Joe does. Just Joe's in the UFC longer, had a nice win streaks, had some huge wins, and still competing. I think we won like a few months ago. I teared up, man. I teared up seeing him win that fight. I almost felt like I was part of it. I've watched him for so long, and after everything he had been through with his son and everything, seeing him win in that fashion in front of his own crowd was really, really nice to see.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you for taking the time. I don't want to hold you up too much longer. I know you've got.
I'm not really doing shit. I was playing games.
Yeah, you got kids and all that stuff. So
yeah.
I appreciate you taking the time, man. And this, like I said, man, you're my third person on my podcast, and it's a UFC fighter, man. Like that's amazing. So appreciate you taking the time, and
no problem.
We'll, keep in touch, and best of luck, man. Hopefully you get that fight, Johnny Walker, in June would be amazing.
Yeah, dude, I'll be sick. I'll give a huge shout out to you.
That if you say my name after the fight, man, that would be incredible.
I got you.
No, man. All the best. Good luck, and appreciate it.
Yes, sir.